Wow, wow, wow. The Boston Celtics, breaking news, have traded Jrue Holiday to the Portland Trailblazers in exchange for Anfernee Simons and 2 second-round picks. What's going on, Green Teamers? You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Tyler Smith, and I did not expect to be making a video this late at night. Brad Stevens does not sleep. He goes out there and executes the first domino that needed to fall this offseason, trading away Jrue Holiday in exchange for Anfernee Simons. I mean, look, man, I'm taken aback by this deal. We know the Celtics and the moves that they make love to move in silence. There were no rumblings of Holiday to Portland. The Celtics were interested in anything that Portland had to offer or anything like that. I mean, Jrue Holiday, less than a year ago, was a member of the Portland Trailblazers when the Bucks went out there and traded for Damian Lillard, and then obviously the Celtics swooped in, picked him up, and won a championship. Now he heads back to Portland. It'll be interesting to see how long he ends up there. Will Portland decide to reroute him? There's so much to break down when it comes to this trade, but this is why you subscribe to Celtics Today. Look, when Celtics make a move, we're making a video for you guys. I'm in Marshall Green's house right now. I'm in enemy territory here recording a video because I had to get the latest out to you guys. So make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button, because the Celtics apparently are not done yet making moves this offseason, as they need to get under the second apron for 25-26 and beyond. But man, this is a crazy trade. Jrue Holiday traded to the Portland Trailblazers, Anfernee Simons, and 2 second-round picks. Let's try to break this down financially a little bit before we get into the basketball, because what we know about the Celtics offseason this year is that they are looking to move off of salary. They are a second apron team where they're going to be facing more in luxury tax penalties than they will be actually on the payroll of their roster. So we knew for the longest time that they were going to have to cut costs this offseason. And I really think that this is one of the best situations for Boston to get in. When we were kind of mocking up Jrue Holiday trades, some centerpieces of these deals included guys like, PJ Washington or Daniel Gafford from the Dallas Mavericks, or, the Clippers were rumored. And, you got a guy like Bogdan Bogdanovic over there who would have headlined a trade. There were talks about the DeMar DeRozan swap, which clearly the Celtics were not into at this point. Now they go out there and get a 26-year-old Anfernee Simons, who kind of fits the Jays timeline at this point. Jason Tatum at 27 years old. He probably won't be playing much next season. Jaylen Brown, he's 28. Simons kind of fits this mold now as a guy who can just fill up the stat sheet scoring the basketball. I mean, each of the last 20 seasons, he's averaged 19 points or more per game. Yes, it's on a pretty brutal Portland Trailblazers team for the most part, but at the end of the day, numbers are numbers, and he's going to come in here and I'm sure play a winning brand, coached by Joe Mazzulla in the culture that Brad Stevens has kind of cultivated over the past couple of seasons. I think that's going to be a stark contrast from what he was doing up in Portland. So I'm very excited for Simons to be here. Plus, 6'3", decently sized guard. Can he be a good, solid team defender? That has yet to be seen yet in his NBA career, but I think only going to a more polished kind of destination in Boston will only elevate his game and create more winning tendencies for a guy like Anfernee Simons. As far as Jrue Holiday goes, man, he was the X factor when it comes to the Celtics winning that title last year. You could call Porzingis the cheat code, but let's be honest, the guy didn't play as much as we all had hoped he would, and Holiday was kind of the guy that stepped in, made insane plays in the highest stakes moments. The steal against Indiana, we will always have that, and I'll never forget it. So shout out to Jrue for everything that he did. I was watching the highlights from the Celtics run, and specifically a Jrue Holiday compilation a couple of days ago. This guy was flying around the court, man. It was so awesome to have him out there. This last past season, you could clearly see a little bit of regression in his game. The efficiencies dipped a ton. Was he as reliable of an on-ball defender as maybe he was in 23-24? I would say no. So I think in this deal, reportedly the Celtics wanted a first-round pick, and then there was other reports coming out that they would have to attach a first-round pick to Jrue Holiday in order to get off of him, as he is, a mid-30s player making mid-30s money, and that's just not ideal for a lot of scenarios. Now, I think Brad Stevens is in a position where he's only making the deals that make sense to him, and this is a deal that absolutely does that. Anfernee Simons on a 4-year, $100 million contract. Keep in mind, Jrue Holiday makes $32.4 million next season. I want to get this number for certain, and I'm not sure if it's a flat rate or not on Anfernee Simons' contract. However, this is going to be clearing up a decent bit of money for the Celtics here as they try to get to that second apron. So Simons has just the one more. Wow, he only has the one more year left on his deal. I didn't realize this was an expiring contract. So the Celtics even getting in a better position here. They could completely be off of this money next season. Now that would essentially be a Jrue Holiday salary dump, but at the same time, I'm sure this is a player that Brad, the Celtics front office, is probably looking to have around for a decent bit, albeit on a contract that's probably not as financially restrictive as Jrue Holiday's ended up being. So he ends up making 27.6, round up 7, so $27.7 million for 25-26. So with Holiday making 32-ish, like you're only really creating $5-ish million in cap space with this trade. So it's going to be interesting to see what the C's do moving forward with this deal. We'll talk about that in just a second, but like one word reaction to this trade, like are you shocked? Like I figured this would be the first player that Boston ended up dealing this offseason, but I'm very curious what your guys' instant reaction was. And by the way, go down below and grade the trade as well. Celtics get Anfernee Simons and 2 second-round picks, which we know Brad loves stockpiling the seconds in exchange for Jrue Holiday. I think Simons could be a real player, and the Celtics now look like they could decently contend in the Eastern Conference in a wide open year next year. We'll see how it all unfolds, but grade the trade for me down in the comment section, A, B, C, D, or F. So let's talk more about what the Celtics could potentially do moving forward here. Actually, we do have the Bobby Marks outline here. I got my phone here just in case we get any new information or anything like that. I don't want to miss anything. So I'm seeing all these new tweets. Bobby Marks says to Boston, Anfernee Simons, $25.9 million, $27.7 million. So I don't know why he included the first year, because that would have been 24-25. That wouldn't make sense. It's not going to be on the Celtics books. Celtics get off the combined $72 million owed to Holiday in 26-27 and 27-28. So that's really the big kicker here for Boston, getting off that long-term money. Projected $40 million in tax savings for this year, because we know with how the C's contracts affect the tax bill, like Sam Hauser making $10 million, his contract costs $80 million. So now they're $18 million below the second apron. That's not true there. Simons is extension eligible. To Portland, Jrue Holiday, that's crazy. He's just $18 million below the second apron. That just cannot be for right now. That makes absolutely zero sense. But regardless, so let's clear up a little bit of money here. I want to talk about what they do kind of moving forward. Now, Shams did tweet out, Portland makes an aggressive move to reacquire Holiday, who the franchise originally received from Milwaukee, moved to Boston for a deal that included 2 first-round picks to the Blazers. Simons joins Boston on an expiring contract, and Shams quoted that saying, an extremely active offseason begins for the Celtics with the trade of Jrue Holiday, who played a critical role in Boston's 2024 NBA championship. The Celtics remain engaged in trade talks surrounding multiple key players on the roster, according to sources. Look, what does that mean? We know that the Celtics' focus, according to all the reports, has been trading Jrue Holiday, which check. Now trading Kristaps Porzingis, a little bit more difficult to do if Brad Stevens really wants to get value back for KP, and then trading Sam Hauser. Those have been the 3 players that they've been focused on trading away in order to clear up their salary books, and while keeping the core of Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Derek White. But do the Celtics maybe pivot now to going a Jaylen Brown trade route, to going a Derek White trade route? We just saw what Desmond Bane went for, the control of 5 first-round picks. Mikal Bridges last offseason went for the control of 6 first-round picks. So, could Derek White be thrown a monstrous offer that the Celtics just literally cannot refuse, whether how good of a basketball player he is or not? This is still a business, and you want to make the deals that are the best business deals you could possibly make. So if you get thrown an offer you can't refuse from one of those guys, maybe they end up going down that path. For right now, I think that they're probably going to keep on that path of getting off of the Porzingis money, getting off of the Hauser money. But at the same time, you look at a guy like Porzingis, and he doesn't have much on-court value around the NBA right now. The value lies in his expiring contract. So how much is that going to be worth in a trade? We know Brad Stevens is not going to want to get fleeced. I think he made a really good deal here, but at the same time, he will keep. I don't think he's afraid to keep Kristaps Porzingis as long as the Celtics aren't completely above the second apron heading into next season. So it's going to be incredibly interesting. I think they go down a lot of different avenues. I mean, we only have now 2 days to go, or essentially 1.5 days to go until the NBA draft. I think there's a chance that another Celtics move could be made by the time that we have concluded all 60 picks in this year's draft. So stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I mean, this is going to be a wild offseason, it seems. Because, look, man, the Celtics get a good player back in Anfernee Simons, but they didn't clear a ton of money in this deal as far as the straight 25, 26 salaries go. So more moves are certainly on the horizon. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Go down below, like the video as well if you've already made it this far, because I'm sure you like the content. We'll see you guys all in the next one, as tomorrow we're going to bring a video about kind of like what's next for Boston here, because Shams says the phones are going to keep dialing. They're going to continue to be active all offseason long. So does that mean a JB trade? Does that mean a Derek White trade? Or does that mean Kristaps Porzingis and Sam Hauser are on their ways out? Only time will tell, but we will keep you tapped in right here at Celtics Today. So lock us in, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys all in the next one. And as always, let's go C's. Welcome, Anfernee Simons.